Welcome to How's Your ePresence? How's Your ePresence is a show designed to help business people or companies understand ways to implement social media better. We're all in the business to make money. Why not use social media to help increase your revenues? This show is managed by ePresence, and ePresence manages social media for organizations that know business is done more effectively by the individual profile on social media. I'm Mark Galvin, and we're coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia, in my basement with my two lovely assistants, Leo and Olive. They are my wonderful dogs here, and I love when I can sit at my home studio and work because the traffic jams are quite are nasty in Atlanta, so I get to avoid them. What's this show all about? We've already talked a little bit about this. As you know, How's Your ePresence talks about professional social media. We talk about ways that you can get onto social media or platforms online and leverage that digital platform that can be quite so elusive and so confusing to be more effective for you and for branding, and maybe even help you extend your brand for your business in a way that you're just not able to do or don't know how to do now. Each time we have one of these shows, we bring on a great guest, and it's always fun when I run across a guest using the platform that I like to talk so much about, and that is right through LinkedIn and through webinars and all of these online social media platforms that we use, and today's guest is one of those people. Today's guest is Sanoop Luke. Sanoop, are you there?
Hey, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. So, Sanoop, you and I met each other. Well, I think you met me first. How do we know each other?
Well, we met through a webinar that you were hosting for the alumni from Emory University, and that's where I went to school. And you were giving a webinar on LinkedIn, and I've been using LinkedIn pretty casually, but it was great to kind of see your perspective on how to be a little bit more polished in terms of LinkedIn as a way to build your presence online.
Well, and this is what I like about this relationship and others that I've developed through digital means. So you and I have never met each other. You, in fact, joined that webinar. I think you were in London, were you not?
That's right. I live in London, and I just moved there. So I've been living in Singapore for the last 4 years and change. And I just moved over to London. And it just so happened to be a coincidence that you had a webinar going on. And and I learned a lot from that.
Well, thank you very much. And I'll tell you this, for those of you who have not heard of Emory, and it's hard to believe that, but Emory University is one of the premier higher ed schools in the state of Georgia, if not the Southeast. It is a very prestigious school, and for Sanoop to have gone there is a great thing, and you probably got an incredible education. What'd you major in when you were there?
I was an economics major. And
economics?
Economics, yeah, and I did a minor in African studies as well, so pretty random, but I enjoyed that combination.
Well, and so here you are. You get an economics degree from Emory, and you went on from Emory. And did you get another degree, or was that and I'm sitting here looking online. I'm looking at your LinkedIn profile, and you went to University of Cape Town. Was that before Emory?
That was during Emory, so that was a study abroad program.
Oh, cool!
Where, because I was studying African studies, University of Cape Town.
That's a good fit.
Like a good fit, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So here's why Sanoop is on our show today. Sanoop is an independent YouTube content advisor. So after he joined the webinar, he pinged me on LinkedIn and said, "Hey, would love to connect with you. Would love to talk." He and I jumped on a call together, and we're just interested in seeing if our lanes would cross each other. And after that call, I told him, I said, "You've got to join me on my podcast because of your expertise at YouTube." Tell everybody, what did you do at YouTube?
So YouTube, as everyone knows, YouTube is probably the largest public-facing video platform that's around. And YouTube has about 2 billion users that come in every month.
Oh, just a few
content.
casual 2 billion.
Exactly. and what's interesting is that 80% of those viewers come from outside the United States.
Wow.
And thus, my position being based in Singapore, which was the Asia Pacific headquarters for YouTube, I looked at how we can grow the platform in terms of content, both the quality of content as well as quantity of content, with creators and producers who are based in Australia, New Zealand, and Southeast Asia. So I spent a lot of time working with TV broadcasters, independent studios, and also kind of what we call endemic creators. So these are native YouTube creators. They may be working from their basement, working from their home, but they're creating professional videos that then get monetized. So I was their human conduit between YouTube and them, and guiding them and optimizing their channels for better, not just viewership, but also for more revenues that they can make on the platform.
Oh, that's absolutely fascinating. So you came to YouTube through media because you'd spent some time with Time Warner in Atlanta. You've done some work with NBC, and there's a whole bunch of and as we described before, linear TV channels that go along with that Turner Warner Media, which has now been purchased, as most of us know. But so you did a lot of work there, and then you stepped into YouTube because it's still video, right? And so that was a natural progression. So that's really cool. There's an interesting thing you said, and that is there are major media out there they're pushing content to YouTube, and then what did you call folks that are on YouTube that produce stuff from their basements? They're called, what did you call them?
So they're YouTube creators, and we would call them endemic YouTube creators because they're endemic to the YouTube platform.
Endemic.
And
Got it.
they're not necessarily producing television content or film content, but they're producing videos that are native to the platform on YouTube.
Got it. So when does someone start making money on YouTube?
Yeah, so the way that the YouTube platform is set up, it's actually set up so that anyone can start monetizing their content. And YouTube has set some initial guidelines into what kind of a threshold do you need to hit before ads are placed against your videos and your channel. And so the threshold is 1,000 subscribers at a minimum.
Okay.
And
subscribers.
4,000 subscribers, correct. So these are individuals who like your channel, they want to follow your channel, and then you hit the subscribe button.
Got it.
And they become a subscriber to your channel. And so 1,000 subscribers is a requirement. And then the other requirement is 4,000 watch hours in the last 12 months.
Oh, so that's interesting. So it's watch hours, not total views. And so if someone's just clicking my video and they watch 10 seconds of it and bug out, that's not going to help me get to a point where YouTube will pay me to produce content.
Correct. Exactly. So that's where it used to be views. So YouTube was actually set up where views really mattered. But even to this day, you can still see views as a metric underneath each video. But views don't give the full picture, right, in terms of how engaging that content is or how engaging that creator is. And that's where watch time comes in, because watch time really is an indicator of how much time is being spent on a channel.
And that makes sense.
The viewer doesn't get to see the watch time. The viewer, again, only gets to see what the views look like. But you as a creator, as a channel creator, manager, the YouTube Analytics provides a space where you can see all kinds of data, including watch hours.
Got it. All right. So here I am. I've got my 1,000 followers or subscribers.
Right.
You can tell I'm in social media space. I look at as followers, but subscribers, and then I get 4,000 hours of views, which is just seems like an unbelievable amount of time, but it probably happens quickly if I've got a lot of subscribers. Once I reach that threshold, how do I get paid?
So once you get that threshold, essentially you can enter into the YouTube Partner Program. And the YouTube Partner Program allows you to essentially set up your bank account directly with Google, and off you go, and the ability to really monetize. And there's different ways of monetizing. There's advertising, which is the most popular way of monetizing your content.
So wait a minute, can I control my own advertising on my own ads, on my own videos?
You can control the ability to decide which ads you want to turn on.
Huh.
So meaning that, hey, I can do pre-roll ads, and they could be skippable or non-skippable. So there's some ability to customize it, but you can't say I only want to put brand A and brand B on it.
Got it.
But if you're a kids producer, you can actually go and control which categories of advertising is shown on your channel.
Huh.
Because it's a sensitive audience that you're programming it for.
Yeah, I don't want to advertise,
control, but not too much.
Yeah, and I don't want to advertise vodka on my kids' channel.
Correct.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I never thought about that, but that makes total sense. You need those type of controls. So,
and you can also decide not to advertise as well too.
Okay.
Some creators do not want to advertise because they want to provide a quality video viewing experience. They think that the ads could be intrusive, whether it's pre-roll, mid-roll, or overlays. And so some decide not to, especially if you're a big producer or a big television broadcaster.
Yeah.
You might think that, okay, well, that's okay for me. I'm looking at this more as a marketing platform, YouTube, rather than a revenue generating platform. And that's the same with brands as well, too. There are many brands who decide not to advertise because they're already reaching out to an audience through their brand, and they feel like having other brands in there could confuse the message that they want to give out to their audience.
So this is interesting. I'm so used to landing on YouTube and getting that pre-roll, and and getting the opportunity to skip it if I'm not interested in that product. It almost, and as a business person and as an entrepreneur, I can't imagine refusing that revenue stream. However, I guess it does make sense if the overall mission is as such that I don't want that there. So it's good to know that you can turn that off. Is there ever a point where YouTube will just pay me directly, even if I don't have advertising, or do I have to have advertising on there to generate revenue? I'm assuming that would be the case.
Right. So the primary way is advertising, but YouTube has been experimenting with more ways of bringing revenues back to a creator or a channel. So the second way is YouTube Premium. So YouTube Premium is YouTube's advertising free platform.
Yeah, and I've seen that pop up all the time. Every time I land on YouTube now, it says, hey, why don't you sign up for our premium channel?
Correct. And so if people are watching content, let's say, your ePresence channel and the content from there, then there's a percentage of the revenues from YouTube Premium that'll come back to the creators that have been viewed. So that's a second way of monetizing your content. And now YouTube's been experimenting with other ways, which includes membership. And this is a bit like Patreon and fan funding for the most part. Right. The ability for your fans to pay you directly via YouTube.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that was there.
Yep. And then the last one is merchandise. So if you're a YouTube creator, then there's an ability for you to actually connect a merchandising business within YouTube. And so I can pick up my ePresence T-shirt and hoodies and cups.
Well, I think that's.
So YouTube is really trying. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I need to start my ePresence owned logoed hat and see if folks will start buying them. It would be great. I can see it now. Everywhere I go throughout the country, people wearing my ePresence hat. The raised logo, kind of like the pro baseball players wear. That would be a cool idea, and I can sell it on my YouTube channel. And I joke, but that's a great thing to know that's an opportunity on a YouTube channel if you. I really didn't think about that merchandising aspect. So we are at 15 minutes. I told you the first 15 minutes would go fast.
It does feel very fast.
Yeah, really fast. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break here, but before we do, I'm going to tee up what we're going to talk about when we come back, and that is, if as a business owner, what is it that I need to know from Sanoop to be successful? Because there's this thing, Sanoop, about YouTube that just seems daunting, and unless you are naturally going to you're already on that space, there's a reason that a lot of businesses haven't jumped on there. And the other one, part of it is golly, do I have to create content all the time to create a channel? Lots of questions, but we're going to talk about that when we come back. So we're going to take just a quick minute. Don't go anywhere. We are here with Sanoop Luke. He is our local YouTube expert, and he's going to share more information on how you can get your own YouTube channel for your business up to speed. Stay right where you are. This is Mark Galvin with ePresence, a personal e-branding firm. Your company's social media may have a few hundred followers, but your team members may be connected to thousands. If you have 5 or more team members and you activate their social media, the company will be in front of thousands. Keep in mind, people do business with people. People interact on their social media with people. Why not activate the personal social media profiles at your company and engage with that audience? Get this done with ePresence. We are an e-branding firm that specializes in activating your team's social media so your firm is on your customer's mind when they are ready to buy. Want to know more? Find us online at ePresence.me. That's ePresence.me. ePresence.me, because it's all about you. Welcome back to How's Your ePresence? Hosted by Mark Galvin, and I am the founder and CEO of ePresence. And we are here today on How's Your ePresence to talk with, Sanoop Luke. Sanoop is our local, and I say that in such an affectionate way because actually Sanoop was in London the first time I talked to him, and now he's in New York this time. But Sanoop is our YouTube expert here for How's Your ePresence. And as a matter of fact, Sanoop, you are in New York, is that right?
That's right, Mark. Yeah, so I live in London, and then I end up traveling quite a bit from London. And London's great just because it's an international destination. And I do come to New York pretty often, as well as other parts of the world.
So what is it that you do? What's your job? Your job?
Yeah. How do I bring home the bacon?
Exactly.
So my experience is very much in content. So having started in television, both kind of linear broadcast television, and then now moving over to the world of YouTube. So my job is to be a content advisor, independent content advisor to content producers as well as brands that want to build their reach on YouTube.
Oh, that's really cool. Because when you were at YouTube, they assigned you accounts and told you, okay, Mark Galvin has a YouTube account that is, can be better or is making money or could make more money. Isn't that right? And you would help me figure that out.
That's right. So I would work with some of the top creators out of Australia, New Zealand, and Southeast Asia. And so generally you would have to have 1 million subscribers or more.
Oh, wow.
To have a one-on-one, right, with me at YouTube.
So who was that guy that
so many
who was the guy in Japan? He had a video and it was a really cool visual video, upbeat song, and it got a gazillion views. Did you have that guy as an account?
So you're probably referring to Psy with Gangnam Style?
Yeah, that was
one?
it. You could tell I'm
Yeah.
so not cool. I couldn't remember that.
Well, yeah, Korean. So I
Oh,
didn't
it's
work with him, but my colleague in the Seoul office did,
really? That's
and
cool.
or work with the team. Absolutely. So that's what we would do. Like our team, it's a very small team. It's not that big, but we would essentially work with the top creators and channels out of APAC, and I would work primarily with creators who had 1 million plus subscribers. So the needs of them would be very specific at that
Right.
level.
Right.
And so now that I'm an independent creator or independent advisor, I can actually look at what are some best practices that they've been doing, what are some tips and tricks that we recommend at YouTube, and bring that to channels and brands and business owners now.
So let's be honest. Well, maybe you know this. How many people or how many channels on YouTube have 1 million subscribers or more? What's the percentage?
Ooh, that's yeah. I don't know if I have that number from the top of my head,
But it's a low number, I'm guessing.
it's a very, very low number. I mean, just to give you an idea, is when I started my role about 4 years ago in Australia, we only had one creator in the kids genre with 1 million subscribers or more.
Wow. Okay. Well, there's a good example of
And
that. It's
now
hard.
now it's probably like close to 20. So it's very hard. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
It's
Well,
very,
good.
very hard. And I think the folks who make it, they primarily do it on a recipe that's one based on commitment.
Sure.
They've made a commitment to be a creator. And second is they've made a commitment to be consistent.
Which is important.
And which is very, very important when it comes to YouTube, because
Right.
there's an algorithm at play. There's also subscribers who are coming and expecting certain types of content as well.
Well, this is I will tell you, folks. Sanoop and I can. It's sad that he's not here in Atlanta going to Emory, because I would sit down with him and we would probably have a lot of time together, sitting over either a cup of coffee or over a beer. There are a couple of great spots to meet over there at Emory's campus to talk about this. But today we're doing it with all of you, so you can hear some of these great topics. I do have before the break, I had a question for you, and I kind of teed it up, and it was, what are those keys to success that a business owner should be looking at when stepping into YouTube, or if they've already got a YouTube channel, what are those things they need to know to be successful on YouTube?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely a few different ways of looking at success. So the first question I generally ask is, what are your goals that you're trying to achieve?
Always got to know that. Absolutely.
Always got to know the business goals.
Right.
And if it's marketing related, which is pretty essentially significant when it comes to a business owner,
right,
then how can YouTube help reach your audience? And as I mentioned earlier, there is nearly 2 billion viewers that come to YouTube every month. And especially if you have a business, whether it's only US focused or international, essentially almost everyone is watching YouTube when you think about the larger internet using population.
Sure.
And so I think for most channels, it's key to understand how YouTube is developed as a platform. For one, metadata becomes very critical on YouTube. So metadata is essentially the title that goes onto your video. It's the description, any kind of tags. And the reason why that's important is because YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world.
I'm so glad you said that. That's been on the tip of my lips for this whole time. But yeah, that is so important. And I'm glad you described metadata. So here I am. I'm going to drop a video. Let's say you and I are sitting in a studio and we're videotaping this conversation. We would need to make sure that, we need the title. The title, How's Your ePresence, is consistent. So that has to be there. But I would drop in a bunch of hashtags, like YouTube would be, of course, a hashtag, and optimizing. And so I need to look at, and you can go on Google and pull up the good SEO words, but it would be important for me to figure that out, to include that as I post that video. And you help figure that out for your clients. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So some of the best YouTube creators out there, they have an entire, Microsoft Excel sheet of keywords and metadata that they've been building up over
So
time.
that's good. Build that over time,
Right.
because why do the
You build that
research
over
every
time.
time? Yeah, good.
Exactly. And so that becomes very critical in terms of having your videos recommended. So that's more of kind of what is a lever that a content owner can do to have their videos be recommended. But then there's lots of other levers, right? Another one is click-through rate, for example. So that's where the thumbnail becomes very critical. And
Did you say Did you say thumbnail?
Thumbnail, correct.
So explain what that is.
So thumbnail is the images that you see when you go on YouTube for a video.
Now,
so let's say it's a video about how to cook, how to bake a pie.
Right.
And generally, what happens is the thumbnail that looks the most relatable, it gets clicked on.
Sure. So if I'm working on that pie, and the image shows a picture of the cookbook versus the thumbnail being of the pie, one of those will get I'm more apt to click on one than the other. I'd probably click on the pie, by the way, than the cookbook, as in this example. So I will tell you, I struggled I was trying to upload a video to YouTube, and I could not figure out how to change those thumbnails. It gave me 3. It said pick from these, and I didn't like them. How does YouTube pick what the thumbnail looks like through the algorithm? Do you know that?
So YouTube has a way of identifying what could be those 3 options, and it may not be the best fit.
Right.
So what the top creators do is really focus on having customized thumbnails.
Right.
And,
absolutely.
And they really do kind of A/B testing as well too, to see which one's working. So you can actually have a look at the analytics to see, okay, which of my videos are performing the best based on click-through rates, and which are the lowest. And for the lowest, can I go ahead and actually swap them out with new, fresher thumbnails?
Wow.
So I think that ability to really look at YouTube, not just from a content standpoint, but also putting on the hat of a data scientist as well, becomes really critical.
A social scientist in some ways.
A social scientist.
Yeah. This is really interesting when I land on YouTube, and I've got those what's the name of the feed on the right? The future videos that are about to play. They appear on the right side from the video that I'm actually watching. And I've noticed that sometimes these videos will have a really risque kind of thumbnail. So an example is a girl on a beach in a bikini will show up. And I know what they're doing, right? They're trying to get people to click on that. But what's interesting is those thumbnails, they don't appear in the video at times. Those are one of those ways that people are manipulating YouTube. I'm guessing they're manipulating it. But it does speak to the way that we do consume and what is the clickbait style of picture. You definitely have to find something that is going to draw attention to what you're doing. And sometimes, what do you do if there's just not a image in my video that's going to really draw that attention? Is it sometimes better to put a photo of a logo or something else, or is it better just to pick a thumbnail that's in the video? What do you recommend in that case?
Generally, my recommendation is to determine who your audience is, and then choose a thumbnail either from the video or a customized thumbnail that's relevant for that audience.
That'll speak to them, sure.
Exactly, and so perhaps that image that you described would be something that's appealing for a certain type of audience, depending on the type of content that is being produced. Whereas if it's a pie baking video, again, that's probably not as relevant for your audience.
Right.
And so it really kind of depends on what's the best way to understand their needs. And YouTube's actually made a lot of investments to crack down on some of those kind of junky thumbnails as well too.
Right, I bet.
Yeah, and I think that's where YouTube kind of puts a recommendation out there, is to kind of steer clear from those kind of clickbait and think of what's actually appropriate.
This is there's a whole nother side conversation which I continuously have, especially working in social media, about what is good for our culture, what's good for the audience in general, and what, or if social media outlets should be controlling what is appearing on their on those formats. And that could be, you know what, you and I are going to talk again. That could be a great conversation for a future podcast, because I think that that's a real interesting topic that affects
Great.
all of us.
I love that.
Yeah, there is a lot. There's a lot to be said for that. So we're closing in on the back half of our second 15 minutes, and like you and I have talked, there's over 2 hours of content really to jump in here, but we're not going to do that today. Sanoop, will you join me again sometime and come back here and talk YouTube again?
This has been great. What a pleasure. I'd love to.
I would love to have that happen. And you are. There are so many things that come up in the work that I do as we optimize and help people activate or get their personal social media so that it's connecting with their audience. These questions come up constantly about video. Video is everything. And so the next time you come on, here's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to already tee it up. And I will tell you, Snoop, I've never done this before. The next time you come on, I want to talk about what are all those video formats out there, and where should I drop content? So should I be on YouTube? Should I try to use Vimeo? Should I exclusively drop my video onto Instagram? So that is a huge question that I'm sure a lot of us have. Or should I put it in all places? So will you come back again and we'll talk about all of that fun stuff next time?
That sounds great.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, in the meantime, I want people to be able to track you down. So if someone's looking for help on their YouTube channel, this is, you're an organization that you're dropping content there and you feel like you're just not getting everything you want out of it, you need to contact Sanoop. He can help you with that. And even though you live in London, does it matter if I'm sitting in Southern California? Can you help me from London?
Absolutely. That's one of the benefits of being in London, and one of the reasons I've chose London is that I could be on a phone call with LA, New York, Singapore, Tokyo, Auckland, all in the same day.
Well, the sun never sets on your office.
Was from New Zealand.
Yeah. So did you hear me say that? The sun never sets on your office, it sounds like. You can be up 24/7. That's not healthy, Sanoop.
I can be, but I think it really depends on who I'm working with as well, and a lot of it comes very naturally to me because I've been underneath the hood for the last 4 years within YouTube, so it's really easy to kind of bring that out with clients and really get to know them and their needs on the platform. Good.
So the message is, I don't care where you are, if you need some help, you can contact Sanoop and he can help you. Sanoop, where can they find you?
So I'm on LinkedIn. So you can find me Sanoop. Sanoop is my first name, and then Luke. So you can find me on LinkedIn.
And Luke is Luke, right?
And Luke, correct.
Yeah. All right, great. So, and your handle on LinkedIn is exactly your first name, Sanoop.
Just my first name.
Sanoop. And for those of you who don't understand that handle, it's as easy as this. Go linkedin.com// NIN/Sanoop, SANOOP, and you can find Sanoop there. Or I'm going to just look at the show notes here. I will drop a link right on our show notes so that you can click that and it will take you straight to his LinkedIn profile. And he can help you out on YouTube. Or you're welcome to shoot us a message too, and I can help you connect with him. So, Sanoop, I am thrilled that you're with us today. You share so much great information, and there's that we will schedule another time for you to come back and we'll talk about those other items, and, among other things. And if you're a game, there are things that pop up every once in a while, and there is a feeling of there's some pushback that social media is getting, and YouTube and Google at times, about how people are trying to use it to take over the world. All those sort of fun things would be fun to talk about in the future, and I think our audience would find that interesting. So you're game? You're willing to come back?
Absolutely, count me in.
All right,
what a pleasure this has been.
Sweet. Well, let's count on that. So let's consider that a done deal. Also, in the meantime, for all of you folks out there, if you're looking for ePresence, I got to tell you how to find us. You can find us at ePresence.me. That's ePresence.me, because it's all about you. We don't have ePresence.com. It's ePresence.me. We looked at changing it, and quite frankly, we're going to stick with it because it is so custom to what we do. We help people with personal social media. So if you're an organization and you know that the CEO needs to have an active social media account, but can't figure out how to do that in a secure fashion, because I'll tell you, every single employee that comes to work for you is pulling up the CEO to see if they want to work for that CEO versus someone else's. So make sure your CEO has an optimized social media account and looks good and is really conveying the messaging and the branding of your organization as well as their values. Also, remember, we broadcast live on the third Thursday of each month at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, or just remember, the third Thursday at 3. And you can listen to those shows 24/7 by going to businessradiox.com, because we're on Business Radio X for that show, or we take those shows and we drop them right here on this YouTube. I got YouTube on the brain. Right on this podcast channel. We're on all major podcast channels. So find How's Your ePresence on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, even Spotify. My kids are thrilled that I'm on Spotify. One of their friends found my podcast. You'll like this, Sanoop. One of my daughter's best friend walked into my living room on a Friday evening when she's asking, "Mr. Galvin, look, you're on Spotify." And I was like, "Yeah, you want me to autograph something?"
The street cred just went up.
Yeah, exactly. She was amazed. So anyway, check out our podcast channels. You can find us anywhere. What I want you to do is, more than anything, check us out on How's Your ePresence, your ePresence.me. If you have questions or you'd like to throw a question at me for a future podcast, my handles everywhere, I don't care which social media platform you're on, is real simple. It's ePresenceMG, EPresence, M for Mark, G for Galvin. Hit me anywhere. Send me a question. I'd be happy to answer your question right here on a future podcast, and make sure we can help you out. So until next time, for my guest, Sanoop Luke, I'm Mark Galvin, and this has been How's Your ePresence on my own YouTube channel. I almost said Business Radio X. Right here on How's Your ePresence. Have a great day.